Throughout this series, we've explained how basic numbers can be grouped, operated, and equated. From what we've learnt so far, we can use our operations on smaller numbers below 10. However, when these numbers become much larger and more complex, new methods are required. For example, if we wanted to add 352 to 909, we would simply start from the right and add each number accordingly, pushing any 10-place values to the left until we reach the end, giving us an answer of 1,261. Similarly, with subtraction, say we wanted to subtract 217 from 199. Again, we start from the right and subtract each number accordingly. If at any time the number on the top is lower than the number on the bottom, we simply subtract 1 from its leftmost neighbor and add 10 to the original number. Therefore, our final answer would be 18. Now let's say we wanted to multiply 352 with 47. Without the use of a calculator, this process is a bit tedious on its own, however. To solve this, we need to break down the equation. Firstly, we need to break down the multiplier, being 47 to 40 and 7, so we need to multiply 352 to both 40 and 7, then add the two numbers together. Since 40 is just 10 times 4, and anytime you multiply 10 by any number, you just add 0 after that number. We start by adding a 0 to right end of the row. Thereafter, we multiply every number by 4, adding every 10-place value to the preceding number until we reach the left end. After that, we do the same for 7. Finally, we add the two numbers to get 16,544. Note that every time you multiply in this way, it is recommended to make the multiplier the number with less digits as it's easier to break down. However, this is not a requirement. Finally, when asked to divide two numbers, the first thing we need to understand is how to divide smaller numbers. If we wanted to divide 2 from 36, we first divide 2 from 3, which will give us one remainder 1, then we add the remainder to the 6, giving us 16. Then we divide that into 2, giving us 8. And therefore, our final answer is 18. Now let's say we wanted to divide 34 from 816. To solve this, we need to use a process called long division. Similar to regular division, we need to divide the divider, being 34, to the first number of the divide, being 816. Since we cannot divide 34 from 8, we put a dot above 8, then we divide 34 from the next number, being 81. 34 goes into 81 two times with a remainder, so we multiply 34 by 2, giving us 68. Subtract 68 from 81 and we get the remainder, being 13. Now we bring down the third number, being 6, to give us 136. Once again, we find how many times 34 goes into 136, giving us 4. 4 multiplied by 34, we get 136. Subtract the two values, and we get 0. This value at the end indicates the remainder of the two values being divided. Therefore, our final answer is 24 with no remainder. Our next topic comes when we use operations on decimals. We know that addition and subtraction is simply. However, when we consider multiplication and division, this will need explanation. With multiplication, there are three main processes in order to multiply decimals. First, count the number of decimal places within each number. Then, ignoring all decimals, multiply the numbers as usual. Then finally, put the decimals in your final answer so they are equal to those in the original calculation. For example, if we wanted to multiply 0.04 with 0.5, we first count the number of decimal places, which are 3. Then we multiply as usual, giving us 4 times 5, which is 20. Finally, we need to replace the decimal places so that they equal the 3 decimal places in the original calculation. So, our answer will be 0.020. Conversely, with division of decimals, there are 4 processes in which we need to complete. Firstly, we need to convert the equation into a fraction. Then we need to make the denominator an integer, so we multiply both the numerator and denominator by the same power of 10. Thereafter, we simplify the fraction, and finally, we then convert the fraction back to a decimal. So if we wanted to divide 1.5 into 0.03, we first convert this into a fraction. After that, we convert 0.03 into an integer, which will mean multiplying both numbers by 100, giving you 150 over 3. Finally, 150 divided by 3 will equal 50 over 1, which simply equals 50.